Ever since the spring game, I've had a few concerns with Marcel Reed, but today we're going to talk about the flip side. What if he has an elite season?
You are Locked On Aggies, your daily podcast on the Texas A&M Aggies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on into Locked On Aggies. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak. Thanks for making Locked On Aggies your first listen every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. On the show today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the Texas A&M baseball team. The bracket is out for the SEC tournament. The Aggies find a way to win one of the games thanks to a great pitching performance. We'll talk about that, but it's SEC tournament time, and it feels like this is the only shot the Aggies got. We're going to talk about a wide receiver. I've got three names who we anticipate having a big season, and then after those guys, who's going to step up? Because you're going to need somebody to step up, but we're going to get things kicked off talking about Marcel Reed. Those of you every day here at Locked On Aggies know that I've had my fair share of concerns with Marcel Reed. After the spring game, I was hoping that we were going to see a more significant step from him. He still looked like he was struggling to read the defense a little bit. It still looked like he was struggling to find receivers. He made some incredible throws. Then there were some throws that we kind of just went, okay, what are we doing here? And I've talked about those concerns over the last few weeks, but now I want to do the flip side. Because what we have to remember, and I have said this, while I have been critical of Marcel Reed over the last few weeks, he is still capable of making some steps in the right direction until the season. I mean, once again, it is May 19th. The season doesn't start until the tail end of August. So you've got 1, 2, 3.5 months in essence until the season starts. And I mean, to me, Marcel Reed, there are accuracy issues, but I think the big issue for him is reading defenses and making decisions. And those are all things that can be worked on. I think the accuracy is actually more of a difficult, playing quarterback is very hard to do. Okay. We can all agree on that. It is not easy to play quarterback. I think it is the hardest position to play in all of sports. But at the same time, I think that things like reading a defense and making the right decision can be learned by watching film and working your behind off. And Marcel Reed is a grinder, and I believe he's going to do that. I just think that he still has time to get some stuff figured out. And is he going to go into the season as the top SEC quarterback, Heisman front runner? No, but he is going to go into the season as a player that has a chance to be really, really, really good and has a chance to take this Texas A&M team, has an opportunity to take those strides. And here's the deal. What people don't want to hear is that if Marcel Reed is really good, Texas A&M is going to be really good. Those of you that, have been here every day at Locked On Aggies know that I've talked, I believe this team wins 8 football games. And if Marcel Reed is dominant, I believe it's going to be 9 or 10. I think Marcel Reed today, right now, season starts today, Marcel Reed can go win 8 football games. And because I think it's a good roster, I think he's got some help at receiver that he didn't have as much last year. I think that he's got an all-around great roster to help him out. If the season starts right now, I think the Aggies can win 8 football games. And that's the thing. That's why I'm saying if he can just, let's say if I had to rank Marcel Reed as a player right now out of 10, I'd probably give him a 6. If he can just get it to a 7 or a 7.5 by the start of the season, then we're talking about winning 9 or 10 football games instead of 8. Like, he's not far away. I think that's, a lot of folks that have been upset with my takes on Marcel Reed and saying that I'm too critical. I hear what you're saying. I don't think he's that far away, though. I don't think he's there yet, but I don't think he's that far away, and I think he can get there. And he's got months to do it, but he's very lucky, Marcel Reed, in the fact that he is able to run the football. He's dominant with his legs. And that is what is going to give him the opportunity to be really special for this Texas A&M football program. I mean, I believe in Marcel Reed. I believe in his ability to take the Aggies to the next level if he develops a little bit more. And once again, I think those developments are going to come via accuracy, decision-making, and reading a defense. If he can improve in those three areas just by a few percentages, I think that's when this Texas A&M team has a chance to win 10 football games. Once again, do I think that that's likely? I'm not saying it's likely, but is it possible? Heck yeah, it's possible. So I think a lot of folks have been upset about my takes on Marcel Reed, and it's been the negative Andrew Stefaniak over the last few weeks. But I've talked about how I'd like to be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong right now on Marcel Reed. What I think is that he has a chance to work on these things over the next 3.5 months. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, we're talking about those that, are a little upset with my take on Reed. That's a person saying that I think Marcel Reed right now can win 8 football games. I'm not saying the Aggies are going to go 4-8 with Marcel Reed. No, I think he's a good quarterback and he's going to have a winning season. He's going to get you to a great bowl game. But if he takes that next step, that's when I think he can have this team in the college football playoff. So I really want to see Marcel Reed continue to take those strides. And once again, this is all up to Colin Klein. I mean, if he's going to be this guru, if he's going to be this quarterback whisperer, if he's going to be this guy that is able to take a QB to the next level, here's your opportunity, because you've got a really talented raw player right now in Marcel Reed that without any shadow of a doubt is going to be able to elevate his game to the next level. So, I really do believe that this football program with Marcel Reed at the helm is in a great spot. It's just the matter of, can the Aggies get over that hump? And I do think that is partially up to Marcel Reed and who he is as a player. But I mean, once again, he's got a good offensive line. He's got better weapons this year. He has better, receivers, tight ends. The running back room is going to be really talented. The offense has an opportunity to be incredibly special this year with Marcel Reed running it, with Colin Klein calling these plays. It has the opportunity to be really, really special. And I do believe that. I think that anybody that looks at this Texas A&M roster can see how this team has an opportunity to be extremely talented. But they got to do it. So, I do believe that if Texas A&M finds a way to get Marcel Reed to take one more step from now to the start of the season, that's when I think this team has a shot to win 9 or 10 football games. I've been very clear. I've run through my schedule prediction. I've done it. I've predicted the Aggies to go 8-4. But like I said, I do believe that is all it will take for the Aggies to get there, is to improve, is to have your quarterback improve. And I think that he is more than capable of doing it. So that's what we have to monitor, ladies and gentlemen. And I'd like to hear y'all's thoughts in the YouTube comments. What do y'all think? What would it take for Marcel Reed for y'all? Now, some of y'all already bought in on Marcel Reed. And what would it take for y'all for him to kind of take that next step for you all to prove that he's this elite quarterback? What would it take for y'all? I want to hear in the YouTube comments. Leave it. Do you believe he'll take that next step? What would it take for him to take that next step? I want to hear all of y'all's thoughts on that in the YouTube comments. But yeah, I want to be more positive today. And like I said, I do believe that this Texas A&M quarterback in Marcel Reed is going to find a way to take it to the next level. So we shall see. Going to talk about wide receiver. Got a lot of wide receivers on this roster I have 3 guys who I anticipate being the dudes. We'll talk about that. after those three players, who's going to step up? Because we're going to need someone to. And I'll tell you a couple names I think that could do it coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop managing your money and start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. So I believe that your wide receivers this year are going to be KC Concepcion, Terry Bussey, and Mario Craver. I think those are going to be your three main guys. I think when the season ends, those are going to be the three names at the top of the list when it comes to yards, receptions, touchdowns, all of that good stuff. I think it's going to be those guys. But once again, you're always going to need some players to step up and help you out, whether it's something sore, keep somebody out for a game. And, knowing all of that, you need a player to step up. So I want to pull this up. So obviously last year, I wouldn't say that it was the type of passing season that, you would have fully expected from Texas A&M. And I think part of the quarterback and, having different guys coming in and out's part of it. But, looking at this, you had your main guys at receiver, Thomas, Barber, and Walker, all up there. And I think that you're going to kind of see that. But then you had, like I said, you had those players, Cyrus Allen, Terry Bussey. They weren't up there with those guys, but they helped you out a little bit. I mean, they were there. Obviously, Moose. And you had some different players step up and do some stuff for you. And so I guess the question then becomes, who are going to be those players this year for the Aggies? And the number one name for me, I think it's Ashton Bethel-Roman. I think that Ashton Bethel-Roman is a star in the making for Texas A&M. I think that he is going to have this type of season where he takes Texas A&M to the next level when it comes to depth at this position. And I'll tell you this, I don't think it would be the craziest thing in the whole entire world if Ashton Bethel-Roman became one of those top three guys. I think he's the number one name on this list for me. I don't know who it would be. I don't know who he would take over. But I think that he is a very, very special player who has a chance to have a very, very special season. The next name has to be Jerome Miles, the 5-star freshman, a kid that you just know is going to be really special. How much is he going to play as a freshman? We've talked about that. I mean, he's one of those guys that I have a feeling that he is almost so good that it will be difficult for Coach Wiggins and Coach Klein to keep him off of the field. I do think that could happen. I think he's that good that it could be difficult to just not have him out there. So knowing that, I think that this Texas A&M football team has a lot of wide receivers. And I've actually talked to some folks that are a little concerned with the depth at receiver for Texas A&M, but I'm not at all. That's kind of what I'm getting at here. Is it frustrates me how people are having these concerns at wide receiver, and it's depth concerns. But I mean, I don't know how you can look at this, Ashton Bethel-Roman and Jerome Miles and Kelshawn Johnson and Jonah Wilson. I mean, these are all receivers that I think could start at a lot of Power 4 schools that are going to be coming off of the bench for the Aggies, and that's what I'm saying. I think that this room's in a spot where it's going to be a lot deeper than people are currently giving it credit for. There's some concerns there with the depth at wide receiver. I've heard a lot about this. I've heard a lot of folks saying, I just don't know this Texas A&M wide receiver room. They're talented, but how deep are they? And I think part of that was losing Micah Hudson, and they have him, of course, going back to where he came from. But I am at a spot, ladies and gentlemen, where I believe this wide receiver room is going to be special. Now, we also know that we have a wide quarterback in Marcel Reed, who I just got done talking about, who we'll see as a passer. I mean, I think that there's a chance if Marcel Reed doesn't take that next step and he's not elite, you could kind of see this wide receiver maybe not get fed as much as we are anticipating them to get fed, and it might not always be their fault. It might be the fault of quarterback play, and one's going to hate pinning things on somebody, but that could be the reality. But you've got lots of guys who can step up as this wide receiver 4 and 5 and 6 on this roster. You got a 5-star in Rome Miles, a player in Ashton Bethel-Roman who is just going to be great when he's given the opportunity. And then, I mean, even Isaiah Williams, I mean, you've just got so many talented wide receivers on this roster. It's going to be next to impossible for it not to succeed, I think. And like I said, I think that you're going to have a lot of guys that will be able to step up and help you off the bench if there were to be an injury or if someone wasn't performing. This Texas A&M wide receiver room has the depth to be really, really special. So I want to hear y'all's thoughts in the YouTube comments. Who is the wide receiver that's not one of those names? Craver, Terry Bussey, and Casey Concepcion. Not one of those guys that you believe is going to have a really, really special season. Let me know that in the YouTube comments. We're going to talk a little bit about the baseball team, what happened against Georgia, and what to expect in the SEC tournament. We'll do that coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. So the Aggies go to Athens. We talked about the 6-10 loss last week to open up the series. So it's kind of like if you wanted to have a chance, what we've talked about is you'd have to have won the series and then win a couple games in Hoover. They do their job in winning the game on Friday, when Lampkin threw. What an absolute dominant performance. That's one of the most fun pitching performances I've seen in a really long time. Justin Lampkin, 9 innings, 3 hits, 15 strikeouts, no free bases. Once again, as a former pitcher myself, I look at this and I shed a tear. I mean, because it's such a beautiful outing and a beautiful stat line. And then the offense is able to back him up. You get 2 hits from Caden Kent. He scores. You get 2. Jace Laviolette walks 3 times and scores twice. So no hits, but he walked a whole bunch. Wyatt Hensler gives you a knock in this game. Gavin Cash goes 3 for 5. Bear Harrison goes 1 for 4. Of course, Bear Harrison got hit a solo homer. And then Cash homer to score Laviolette and Hensler. And then a Cash single also brought in Hensler and Laviolette, or Kent and Laviolette, to give you your 6 runs. So you total 7 hits in this game, not a whole bunch, but you also walked 7 times. So you were able to get on base, and was really impressed with this win, but also just the outing from Lampkin. I mean, just a special performance. Just truly incredible to see. Then in the final game of the series, you lose a tight one, 5-7. A ball game where, Georgia gets out to a 2-0 lead in the bottom of the 5th. You punch right back, I love that. Punch right back to make it 2-2. Then they score 2 in the bottom. And what do? You punch right back to make it 4-4. And then they put up 3 in the bottom, making it 7-4. You score 1 in the top of the 9th to make an effort at it with the Kent homer, but it just wasn't enough in this ball game. Patton, I thought it was a solid outing, 4.1 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk, hit 2 guys. Weston Moss, not his best outing. It's really hard to be upset at Weston Moss because he's been so special for this Texas A&M team all year. He single-handedly won us some baseball games. So, I mean, you can't sit here and at all be upset at Weston Moss, but not his best outing there to lose that ball game. So now, once again, ladies and gentlemen, it is SEC baseball tournament time in Hoover, Alabama, which is going to be your shot to make the tournament, I think. Here's the deal. I think that you have to win this tournament to make the NCAA tournament. If y'all are seeing something else, if Kendall Rogers and some of these other guys are saying other things, let me know. But, I mean, I don't know if I'm buying 2 or 3 wins getting this in. I think you got to win this whole darn thing. You start off, it says the game's at 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. We all know how that's going to go. And we all know every year you have about 16 million hours of rain delays. Let's just go ahead for craps and giggles, take a look at the weather in take a look at the weather in Hoover. Let's see. Hoover, Alabama. No shot in the world. Well, according to this, it's not going to rain. Be the first time. I mean, I've covered the SEC baseball tournament, I guess, for 4 years. This is my 4th year, I think, covering it. And there's never not been horrible rain delays. So, hey, exciting stuff. But you play on Tuesday. Then you could also get held back. I'm not buying that game starting at 8. I'm not buying it. I bet it starts closer to 9 Central Time. But you're playing Mississippi State, the number 11 overall seed in this tournament. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens in this ball game. It's going to be interesting to see who pitches in this ball game. This is, of course, a Mississippi State team that the Aggies did not face in the regular season, but they're a pretty good baseball team, and they're hot, too. I don't like that. They're playing good ball right now. I'm going to see what they've done in their last handful of outings. They finished the year at 500 in conference play. And I believe they kind of got hot. So let's see. They lose that series. They lose a series against Auburn. They sweep a series over Kentucky. They win the series over Ole Miss. And then they sweep Missouri. So they're playing good baseball at a good time. So we'll see what happens in this game. We'll see who pitches. When we see those kind of matchups, I'll talk more about it. But, I mean, you've got a very, very good Mississippi State team that's playing good baseball right now. But once again, if you want to play in the postseason, can't lose. You got to win this ball game. And I believe, I got to look at the format, but I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, there's no longer, it's lose or go home. It's win or go home, in this tournament now, well, with Texas and Oklahoma joining the conference. So it's going to be a very, very fun tournament. If the Aggies want to play in the postseason, I think you got to win it. We'll talk more about this game tomorrow. We'll preview a little bit more when we hear more about it. But that is going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Aggies. Thank you all so much for being here every single day. Really, really do appreciate it. Hope you'll have a great rest of your Monday. And we'll see you tomorrow right here on Locked On Aggies.